Good evening, class. Welcome to your second to last flip video. Tomorrow will be your very last one. Tonight, we're going to review adding and subtracting decimals when we have it as a grid versus when they just give us it in words or in standard form. So, it says find the difference between the top and the bottom. First thing we need to do is obviously identify what decimal is being represented here. So, in my first model, I see I have 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 holes. I've got 1, 2, 3 of the strips shaded in. And I know that the strips are tenths because it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of the strips to make 1 hole. So that's each tenth. So I've got 3 and 3/10. So that would be 3.3. Down here I've got 1 hole, 2 holes. And I've got 1, 2, 3, let me say this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 hundredths because it takes 100 of these little blocks to make 1 hole. So I need to put that in the hundredths place, so I will do a decimal point, I'll do a 0 because I have no tenths, no long strips, and then my 5. Now difference, I know that means subtract. And I have to fill in a 0 here, so I have equivalent place values. Now when I start subtracting, I can't take 5 from 0 because you just can't do that. So I need to exchange some place values so I do have enough to exchange. So I'm going over here, and I'll borrow a group of 10 from the 3, which would make that a 2, make this a 10. This does not become a 9. The only reason it would become a 9 would be like if I have 200 minus 17, and I'm going over to borrow, that becomes a 10, and then that becomes a 9 because I'm transferring over to here. So if you're just borrowing to a 0, that one becomes a 10. But if you have to go across zeros, then that's when it becomes a 9. That's a mistake I've seen we've been making in class a little bit, so I wanted to clear that up. So anyways, 10 minus 5 is 5. 2 minus 0 is 2. Drop my decimal. 3 minus 2 is 1. Now to make sure that I am correct, I'm going to check this by taking my bottom 2 numbers and adding them. So 2.05 plus 1.25, also known as 1 25 hundredths, 0, carry, because that would be 10. So I've got 3.3 here, 3.3 there. So a couple lessons here, making sure that I know the difference between hundredths and tenths, making sure I'm checking my work, because that's really, really important. And then also this whole thing with subtracting across zeros is something that's very important to work on. So here it says find the sum. This is the one where you're going to pause your video, work through it, and then I'll work through it with you. So go ahead and do that. Alright, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes in that first model, and 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths in that second model. Again, because each little block, it takes 100 of those to make 1 whole. So 5.0, because I have no tenths in that one, 0, 4. Sum, meaning add, and I've got 1, 2. Point, it looks like 1, 2, 3. 3/10, because it is the strips. Fill in a something there to make sure that I can do this. And then 4 minus, or like I'm adding this time. 4 plus 0 is 4, 3 plus 0 is 3, and 7. Let's zoom this out so I can check my work. Really important to check my work. So I got 7 and 34 hundredths minus 2.30. 4 minus 0 is 4. 3 minus 3 is 0. Drop my decimal. So I've got 5.04, 5.04. All good. Again, I just want to review the subtracting across zeros. So if I have like 160.08 minus 57.69, I realize that I can't take 9 from 8, so I need to do some exchanging. Can't borrow anything from there, can't borrow anything from there. Here I finally can borrow. So that becomes a 5, and then I would shift a group of 10 here. I still need to shift it over, so that would become a 9, and now this would become a 10. Still need to shift it over, So that would become a 9, and this would become an 18. And then I could subtract from there. 18 minus 9 is 9. 9 minus 6 is 3. 9 minus 7 is 2. 5 minus 5 is 0. And 1. Then to check that, I would just add 57.69. 69. 9. The really nice thing about addition and subtraction is before you even choose an answer, you know if you're correct or not, as long as you're checking your work. That brings us to our bringing back to school problem. I want you to find the difference between these two models, the top and the bottom. Solve it, check it, and bring it back for me to see in the morning. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you in the morning.